All right, welcome to section 6.3, part 2. We're still talking about conic sections, and we are still in the section that is talking about ellipses. Okay, remember ellipses are the ovals. Okay, the only difference between this part and part 1 is that we're going to do a little more challenging problems in this part of this section. We've already done the basic introduction problems. Now we're going to get a little bit deeper into the material. Okay, the second page in the notes is just the same exact equations that we used in the first part. Just so remember, ellipses have plus signs and they're always equal to 1. Okay, and the A and the B on the bottom can switch. The one thing you have to remember about the A is always the bigger number. Okay, so anytime we're talking about ellipses, A is the bigger number on the bottom. Okay, and the b squared would be the smaller of the two numbers. The equation on the bottom, remember this is the formula that helps us get one of our letters when we know. So if we know B and A, we can solve for C. If we know C and A, we can solve for B. Okay, that formula is very important. All right, so let's get right into the examples. Here's example number 1. Okay, it says find an equation of ellipse. So as soon as I know that I need an equation, I'm going to put x squared plus y squared equals 1. And basically what we need to do is we need to figure out our a squared and our b squared and where they go. Okay? So let's see what they give us. It says the center is at 0, 0. Okay, so this should be an easier one. So the center of our ellipse is at 0, 0. And next, it is saying that our vertex, remember from part 1, vertex is little a. And here's our little a, and it's in the x or the y position. Okay, so notice that this 4 is in the y position. So if a is equal to 4, what would, and it's in the y position, 4 squared would be 16. Okay, so let's see if we can do that one more time. Okay, let's see. Okay, 4 is in the y position, and remember vertex is little a. So 4 goes in the y spot, and the number on the bottom is always squared. So 4 squared is 16. Okay, so let's plug that on our graph now. On the y-axis, square root of 16 is 4. So I'm going to go up 4 on the y-axis, and I'm going to go down 4. Okay, so let's see here. So I also need to go down 4. Okay, so here is our positive a. Here is our negative a. All right, now we need to figure out what our b is. What else did they give us? Okay, it also tells us that our minor axis, remember minor axis always stands for b, it's saying that the axis itself is 4 units long. Now remember that ellipses are always symmetrical. Okay, so however far to the right you go, you have to go to the left the same way. So they're telling you that the whole axis is 4 units long. So if I divide that by 2, that means 2 on the right and 2 on the left. So for a total of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so here's our negative b and here's our positive b. So if b is 2, remember half of 4 is 2, so 2 squared would be 4. Okay, so there's our formula. There's our first answer to the question. Okay, and right now we already have enough information to graph our ellipse. And remember, they're not diamonds. Oops. Let's make it a little bigger. Okay, so there's our ellipse. Now, what else does it ask for? It wants us to find the, oops, not that. It wants us to find the focus or the foci. Okay, so we need our C points. Okay, so if we go back to the last page, b squared equals a squared minus c squared is the formula that we're going to use. B squared equals a squared minus c squared. So let's fill in what we know. We know our a is square root of 16, so 4. So 4 squared is 16. Our b squared is 4 minus c squared. Okay, so I'm going to subtract 16, 4 take away 16 is negative 12 equals negative c squared. Divided by negative 1. C squared equals 12. Square root both sides. Okay, let's see what this c is. So you should be able to reduce this to 2 root 3. Okay, remember 12 is 4 times 3, square root of 4 is 2, so 2 root 3. Now, let's get square root of 12 as a decimal. So square root of 12, 3.46. So 3.46 equals C. Okay, and remember, C always goes with A. So I need to go 3.46 up. So there's our positive C, and negative 3.46 down. There is our negative C. Okay, so our focus points are 0 plus or minus 3.46. Because I went up 3.46 and down 3.46. Okay, all right, so example 2. So slightly different now. Notice it says sketch the ellipse, so we're going to sketch it on this graph right here. All right, now let's look at the equation though. What's different? What they've done is they have added numbers attached to our y, and they've added numbers attached to our x. So really all of this has done is it has changed our center. And remember, it's just the number that's attached to x. So the number attached to x is -2, so our x value is +2. And the number attached to y is -3, so our y value is +3. So this is the first new piece of information that we know. We know our center is at 2, 3. Okay, so there's our new center. Okay, now our whole problem now is going to be based off of this dot, not 0, 0 anymore, the new center. Okay. Okay, once again, the bigger number on the bottom is a squared, and the smaller number on the bottom is b squared. So you tell me what a is. If we know a squared is 16, a should be 4. And if b squared is 4, b is 2. Okay? And what letter is the a underneath? A is underneath the x-axis. So a is going to go on the x-axis. So 4 to the right, 1, 2, 3, 4. And 4 to the left, 1, 2, 3, 4. So there is our positive a, and here is our negative a. And let's see here. B is underneath the y, so B is going to go on the y-axis. B is 2, so I'm going to go up 2, 1, 2, from our center, 1, down 2. Okay, so there's our positive B, and there's our negative. Now, B doesn't necessarily have to be below the x-axis to be negative. This is just our B that is going down. Okay. Now, last thing we need to do is find our C. Okay, b squared equals a squared minus c squared. We know a is 4, so a squared is 16. We know b is 2, so 2 squared is 4. Let's solve this. So subtract 16, subtract 16. Same thing as the last one. Okay, so it's going to be square root of 12 again, so c is equal to 3.46 from the last problem. Okay, so c is equal to 3.46, and it also is on the x because remember a and c always go together. Okay, so I find my a's and I'm going to put my c's down. Okay, so a's are to the left and to the right, so 3.46, 1, 2, 3, a little bit further, so there's my positive c, and from my center, 1, 2, 3, there's negative 3.6. Okay, so there's my, and remember now, the ellipses are drawn through your b's and your a's. Alright, so there's my ellipse. Okay, so the numbers attached to the y and the numbers attached to the x are the new center. Alright, so last but not least, we're going to do example 3. This is probably by far the hardest of the 3 problems, which is okay, but we have done these before. This should look familiar. Okay, so we need to do a double completing the square in order to put this into ellipse form. Okay, so I'm going to combine my x's, just like we always did. Leave a little bit of space, then we're going to combine my y's. Leave a little bit of space, and then I'm going to bring the positive 84 over and make that negative 84. Okay, now, we should notice here, though, that we have a number in front of your y squared, but we don't in front of the x squared. So the x squareds are good. We don't need to do anything with those. But we do need to take it, we have to factor out this 25. So I'm going to remove the 25 from both pieces. So 25 divided by 25 is 1, so I have a y squared left over. And negative 100 divided by 25 is negative 4. Okay. All right, so now once you have nothing in front of the y squared, nothing in front of the x squared, you can continue on with the problem. And we're going to do exactly what we did in the last section. Okay, we're going to add b divided by 2 squared to both sides. Okay, and we have 2 problems that we're going to have to add over here. All right, so my b here is -6, and my b here is -4. All right, so let's see what we have here. X squared minus 6x. -6 divided by 2 is -3. -3 squared is 9. Plus 25 times y squared minus 4y. -4 divided by 2 is 2. 2 squared would be 4. So -84 plus 9 plus, now the problem here is I'm not going to add 4. I need to do 25 times 4. So I actually need to multiply these together. So 25 times 4 is 100. Okay, so let's see what we have here. -84 plus 100 plus 9 turns out to be 25. Okay, so now let's see what we have. So now we're going to factor the left-hand side. Okay, so what two numbers multiply to be 9 and add to -6? Multiply to be 9, add to -6 is -3 plus 25. Factor this part. What two numbers multiply to be 4 and add to -4? So multiply to be 4, add to -4. -2 would be the answer to that one. Okay, last step here to get this into ellipse form. It always has to equal 1 on the right. So in order to get it to equal 1, you divide by whatever the number is on the right. So I'm going to divide everything by 25 here. Okay, so 25 over 25 is 1. Okay, let me move this down a little bit. Okay. All right, so let's see what we have here. Notice 25 divided by 25 is 1, so that goes away. So I'm left with y minus 2 squared over 1, put a 1 there, plus, and then I don't have anything to cancel out with the 25 here, so I have x minus 3 squared over 25. And there it is. There is my ellipse formula. Okay, so we should be able to now label everything that we know. All right, so let's see here. We know a is the bigger number on the bottom, which is 25, so square root of 25 is 5, and it's underneath the x. So it's going to go on the x-axis. Little b is the smaller number, and it's underneath y. So square root of 1 is 1, and it's on the y. And then we would need to figure out c. Remember, a and c always go together. So it's going to be on, I do know it's going to be on the x-axis. Okay, so we need to figure out what c is. So we're going to do c over here. So b squared equals a squared minus c squared. B squared is 1. A squared is 25. Minus c squared, subtract 25, 1 take away 25 is -24. We can cross off the negatives. Take the square root of 24 is on the calculator. Let's go back to the calculator. Square root of 24 equals 4.89. 4.898, we're just going to round that to 4.90. So 4.90. So C is 4.90. Okay? So now all we have left to do is to, oops, not that. I just want to move it. All right, now the last thing we have to do is graph. Okay, so let's see what we have here. We do have a new center though. Okay, so let's see what our new center is. Let's get rid of that. Let's get rid of this. All right, so what is our new center? Okay. Different color here. Our center, what is attached to our x? X minus 3, so 3 is my x value. Y minus 2, so positive 2 is my y. All right, so all of this information here on the left is everything we need to have to graph. Okay, our center is at 3, 2. That's 3 to the right, 2 up. Okay, 3 to the right, 2 up. And our a value is 5, and that's on the x-axis. So I'm going to go 5 to the right, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's a problem. Let's just say it's right here. So there's our positive A, and we need to go 5 to the left, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And there's our negative A. Our B is on the Y, and it's 1, so I'm going to go up 1. And oops, there's our B, and down 1. There's our negative B. And our C is 4.90, and it's on the X. So 1, 2, 3, 3. This was 5. So these are actually really close to each other. Okay, and then now last thing to do is just draw our ellipse through the A's and the B's. So this is a very long, narrow ellipse. Okay, there we have it. Okay, that's a pretty hard one. We will do another one of those in class tomorrow to make sure you get it. Just a basic double completing the square, but there are some different things going on here. Okay, so hopefully that makes a little bit of sense. We'll make sure we do one of those in class tomorrow. Have a good one, and I will see you in class.